Please rise in body or spirit as we sing our gathering music, which is a cappella. Come, come, whoever you are. We'll sing that 2 times through. This is 188. Many of you know it already, though. So we're going to sing it through twice. Then we'll have split up half. This will be group 1, group 2, and Grant will lead group 2 when we sing it through the 3rd and 4th time. Okay. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving, ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again, come. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving, ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again, come. Come, come, whoever you are. Come, whoever you are. Wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving, ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again, whoever you are. Come, whoever you are. Wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving, ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again, come. Sorry. You get enthusiastic, that's right. Well, welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Hillsborough, UUCH, where we constantly strive to be an open and welcoming congregation to all who seek community and support. We don't require that we all adhere to one specific creed or common belief. Rather, we are a covenant community, committed to loving and supporting each other as we each continue our individual lifelong quest for truth and meaning in our personal faith. We are growing, we are all learning, we're all sharing, and we're all loved. Just as you are, you're welcome here. Everyone, please turn to those sitting beside you, around you, and say, glad to see you, welcome to each other.
Good to see
Morning. In case you're wondering, my name is David Yeltsin, and I am the worship coordinator for today's service. As a lay-led congregation, there are many contributors, many behind the scenes who make our services possible. So we want to give a big thank you to everyone who helps make this a great place to gather, to learn, to grow in spirit, love, and community. Let's give ourselves a hand. Aviva Enoch, our musical director, is away this week. We are blessed to have Jenny Haddock, one of our newer members, to share her musical talents with us today by providing the service music. So thank you again, Jenny. And we also have a special treat this morning, as our guest speaker is our returning friend, Julia Sender, the lead organizer for Orange County Justice United, who will be presenting her thoughts and guiding us to explore the comfort and challenges of building a sense of belonging in our Orange County community. A little bit more about Julia later in the service, but for now we just want to extend a warm welcome to you, Julia, and we look forward to your words of wisdom and challenge. Now it's time for our announcements. Before we create time for worship, I'd like to remind everybody that after the service, we enjoy coffee and tea at the back of the sanctuary. And if you are visiting with us today, we hope you'll consider staying with us so we can get to know you a little bit better over coffee and snacks. Also, please take a moment to look at your order service, look at the back and see the announcements there. Now, if we can take a brief moment to share other important announcements for the good of the community that are not listed in the order of service. So, First, everyone should check their cell phones, make sure that it's in an off or silent mode for the rest of the service. So now if you have any announcements, please come to the side mic.
Good morning, y'all. I'm Heather Ponte, also the Homeless Programs Coordinator for Orange County. This Thursday is our town hall. I just want to remind folks, if you can make it, it's from 2:30 to 4 at the Drakeford Library Complex. And if you can't make it, we're streaming it live on Facebook, and it will be recorded. So if you have questions, just see me after service.
You were gonna get a flyer, did that ever happen?
It did, and I forgot them. But I'll email them to you if anyone wants it.
It's in the newsletter, I think, right?
And it's in the newsletter. Thank you.
Yeah,
it was in the
I think I saw it.
I saw it.
Okay.
I am Alicia, and I'm speaking today for Animal Justice. I am hosting a program on October 5th called Interfaith Voices for Animals. We will have speakers in the afternoon from 6 different faith traditions: Christian, Jewish, Buddhist, Pagan, UU, and Jain. I want to encourage you to register for that program. The flyer is taped to the front door. If you register before, like a week in advance, but preferably sooner, if you register, you can get free childcare and free lunch. And I'm expecting to cater it by Pure Soul. So if you know Pure Soul, they're really good. You guys can attest. And I want to encourage folks from here to register. I have 24 people currently registered already, of which 8 are from our congregation. And so I do expect to get a pretty good community support, but I want to get congregational support as well. So that's that.
I'm Linda Seligman. We're going to be having our in-gathering next weekend. Anyway, make sure you gather your water and bring it in, okay? So just wanted to get that announcement. Hi, I'm Aurora, and I have some RE-related announcements. Number 1. Today, after the service, is our art walk. Admission is 2 cans, our dry goods for OCIM, but if you don't have it, that's fine. We have IOU slips to remind you to bring them on a later date. All youth and kids who are here are welcome to help decorate things in preparation for it and to be docents, so come see all the artwork we've been doing over the summer and hear what our young docents have to say about UU values and how they relate to it. Also, next week, we already announced Water Communion, right?
Yes.
Okay, so the week after next week is the start of our program year. The elementary students are going to be working on sacred story skits, and our youth are going to be doing service projects with opportunities to be narrators. In the sacred story skits, there'll be a couple of joint rehearsals instead of separate classes kind of as we approach the play. The performance will be on November 9th, I think. And I really encourage anyone who is, everyone needs to sign up for RE, but I really need them to sign up before next week, because I'm writing the scripts right now, and I need to know like who wants what kind of part, so I can make sure that everyone gets a part they want in the skits. There is a QR code in your order of service that should have a link to the sign up. It's also in the e-news. So if you would fill out that information, it'd be very helpful. And it's going to be really awesome, y'all. Thanks.
Hi y'all, Amy here. I'm the program administrator here, and I want to start off by thanking everybody that came to our talent showcase last night. It was super fun. We had music, we had jokes, we had costume designers and poetry. Y'all, it was super cool. Thank you for coming. That was a blast.
And it was a time to chat with people.
And we had time to chat with people. It was a good time. Where are we? So tomorrow starts our Safe Congregations series, which is a program sponsored by UU Justice NC. Everybody is welcome. It's a, what do you call it? It's a webinar thing. We're going to do it here in the sanctuary. MINCO and GovCo are strongly encouraged to attend. Everybody's welcome. It's almost every Monday for the next, I don't know, 6 weeks or something, talking about different congregational safety issues. Everyone's welcome to attend and discuss. There's more information on that in your newsletter. You can also register and attend from home if you're interested. But please come hang out with us. We're pretty cool sometimes. I want to highlight the fall workday that was just scheduled for September 28th. Please stay after service that day and help us shine up this building so that we can be, even more proud of what we're doing here when all of Alicia's interfaith voices people come for the symposium, which should be super cool. And also, I just want to reiterate that if you want the free plant-based catered lunch, you have to register. It's not a potluck. Okay, so register in your newsletter for that. That's October 5th. Something else. Also October 5th is the Blessing of the Animals service, which we typically hold outside. You can bring your furry, feathered, scaled friends. So now would be a great time to make sure they've got their shots and that they've been to the groomer maybe. So just keep that in the back of your mind. I think that's all, except that Songbirds is meeting tonight. I know Aviva's not here, but she's on her way back. They're meeting at 7 instead of 6:30. I think that's all that I have. Thank you.
And the screening job.
I was gonna let Tessa do that. She's like, no, she loves to miss Okay, we still need someone to help Tessa stream our services. Right now, she's our only streamer. It is a paid position. You sit back there and you do the little iPad thing and you connect the cameras and it goes online. We're going to do a training soon. A date will be announced, but we've had nobody apply for the position and she would really like someone to do it when she's not here. That'd be super. So if you're interested in that job, email me or Kim. Yeah, and if you don't get our newsletter, fill out the thing on the bottom and get our newsletter. Okay, drop it in the offering basket when it comes around.
I never said that. That was you. You said that. Liar. Okay. Hi, I'm Tessa. I do the streaming. And if you want to be trained for streaming, please put your name on the sheet, put your email, put your phone number, whatever, put your contact information. And then you can sign up. And just so you know, if I'm sick or if I am on vacation, then I will not be able to do the streaming, and then we will have no one for streaming. So you should totally sign up.
Okay, that concludes our service today. Coffee and tea now.
Yay!
If there are no more announcements, let's prepare ourselves for our time of worship and celebration. Start with the lighting of our chalice, the symbol of our faith. UUs draw on a heritage of freedom, reason, hope, and courage, building on the foundation of love. Our chalice lighting today is Belonging is a Promise by Reverend Raleigh Weaver. We light this chalice. We remember that belonging is not a place, but a promise. May this flame remind us that belonging comes out of the feelings of being worthy and seeing the worth in each person, worth in each moment we share, and worth in the community that we build together. Our opening words are Come Into Our Circle by Reverend Michelle Collins. Come in from the margins. Come into our circle. Here we stretch wide a doorway of belonging. No need to polish your edges or hush your truth. We gather not in sameness, but in shared seeking. Take a breath. Set down what you carry. You are welcome, wholly and wildly, in this place. Please rise in body or spirit as we sing our opening hymn, number 360, Here We Have Gathered. Please rise. Sharing joys and sorrows is a special ritual in our Sunday services. This ritual happens in two parts. First, we take time to share out loud, and then we make time for silent acknowledgments of sorrows and joys and special milestones that have occurred since we last gathered. Both parts include the dropping of stones into the vase at the altar, symbolizing a metaphoric communal collection of our experiences. By taking time to share, we strengthen the bonds between us all. So first, we take time to share aloud. We do not record what is shared aloud in the service, so those of you joining us online, there will be a short break while people here speak. If you are joining us online and would like to share your joys and concerns with us here, please put that in the chat and tell us whether you would like to have it read aloud, and we'll drop a stone for you. of you who would prefer to silently acknowledge the joys and sorrows remaining in your heart, I invite you to come to the altar and place a stone into the vase in silence while Jenny plays Spirit of Life. After she plays through it one time, we will join in singing this meditative song. Words are printed in your order of service. We hold all these things within the heart of this community, both spoken and unspoken. By remaining silent for a moment as we consider what has been shared and how we might respond. So now let us close the sharing time by saying, Amen and blessed be. Amen. Blessed be. And now, do we have any further report about RE activity today?
We're prepping for the art walk.
Preparing for the art walk. Okay. Well, let's bless our RE classes on their way out by singing the words printed in your order of service. I said I would give you a few more words about Julia later in the service. Now it's later in the service, so here we go. Julia Sindor is the lead organizer for Orange County Justice United, which is a coalition of 24 member organizations, including us here at UUCH, across Orange County to work together to make tangible change in the community. In her 6th year with Justice United, she brings 17 years of lessons learned in nonprofit, journalism, and agricultural work. Julia is continually guided by the burning question of how do you support people in building genuine relationships across divides to make real change. She grew up in Chapel Hill, spent 6 years dedicated to Cedar Grove in northern Orange County, and now lives in Hillsborough with her husband and 2 children. which means a piece of her heart is in all sections of Orange County, north, middle, south. So we welcome you, Julia. We look forward to your message.
Well, thank you for the warm welcome, and I also get the honor of welcoming someone else who you'll get to hear from in a little bit, which is Sharice Alston, over here, the newest organizer with Orange County Justice United. So I'd like to give this a welcome. Many of you have been involved in and supporting for the past year now. We've been working to make it possible to hire County and a huge passion for community and for justice. And I'm going to save a little time at the end so she can come and introduce herself as well, because a part of us both being here is, of course, to have this time to share a message, but also just to connect and reconnect with many of you. Some of you have been involved in Justice United for a long time. Some of you are less familiar, but really appreciate this chance to come and share and hopefully get to hear some from you afterwards as well. So as David said, I'm Julia Sendor. I am now not the organizer, but one of the organizers with Orange County Justice United. And as David said, we bring hundreds of people together to take real tangible action on local justice issues like affordable housing, access to healthcare, education, to make changes that people can actually feel in their lives. And at the heart, what we're trying to do is move this imperfect world as it is closer to what we know is the world as it should be. The world that we come here to reflect on, that you all come here to reflect on every Sunday, the world you're trying to teach your children to believe in and work towards. We're trying to bring people together to make that possible. And for so many years, we have really appreciated and continue to appreciate this congregation's membership and support. So I'm hoping that this time today will be a time for me to share some stories about what we've done, especially what we're doing now, how it connects to this theme that you're reflecting on this month of belonging, and then invite you to reflect on some questions for yourself of how you want to live out this vision of belonging. And we'll also invite you to be part of Justice United. You already are as a congregation, but individually to bring your own stories, your gifts, your talents, your vision to Justice United. Very specifically, and I'll say it now and then Sharice can talk more potentially, but we have two events coming up. One is in 2.5 weeks, September 25th at Latticeville Grove Missionary Baptist Church. It's our countywide members meeting where we all come together to catch where we're headed. That will be a beautiful church. Was murdered. He gave a the second that I'll let Sharice talk more about is Monday, October, around affordable housing, specifically property tax justice. Will be at the Whitted Building in Hillsborough about making sure Orange County. So again, I just that belonging is a way of connecting across divides, that we gather not in sameness, but in shared seeking. And I believe that's how you know what belonging is, that you don't have to fit one specific criteria, fit into one specific box to have a place where you belong, but that you're welcome wholly and wildly, and that your worth is fully seen, fully valued. And the line in that opening, those opening words of take a breath, matches exactly how it feels to me to read those words. Oh, welcome, wholly and wildly. Every part of you is welcome. It brings out this sense of you can breathe. You can have a sense of relief and peace. And that's exactly our vision with organizing, with Justice United, is to create this sense of belonging on every level. And with us, it starts with the invitation to know your own self. so that you can belong to yourself. And then when you come into community with others, you know who you are and what you're bringing. So we invite everyone to reflect throughout the process of organizing, who are you? What deeply matters to you and why? What experiences and what people in your life have shaped your values? And then part of our work is this invitation to dedicate intentional time to hear the stories of the people around you. What do they care about and why? What stories are at the center of their lives? And we see this as one of the most powerful, maybe the most powerful tools for creating curiosity, creativity, trust, spirit of welcome that can lead to community change that makes the entire community more welcoming. And many of you have heard me say this before, but for those of you that could hear it again or haven't heard it in years past, this very simple but powerful building block of creating a sense of welcome through shared stories and shared vision has been at the center of a lot of real change, really important change that you all have been a part of creating in this community. Ensuring that the teaching and front desk staff at Orange County Schools reflect students, fixing failing septic systems and wells that ran dry for weeks on end in local mobile home parks, creating a program for safe drivers who are undocumented so they don't have to be in fear every time they leave their homes or have to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars in fines even though they're driving safely just because they're not allowed to get a license. And currently working on creating and expanding a program in Orange County to fight gentrification and make sure families with low incomes can stay in their homes through property tax assistance, home repairs, and even making the entire property valuation process more fair. The programs for tax assistance and home repairs have now brought the county to invest over $1.5 million in making sure people can stay in their homes. So these are just examples of what can grow from creating belonging between people to then understanding how we can work together to create a larger sense of belonging throughout the whole community. And in the spirit of sharing stories, I'm going to share a few, and I'll invite you throughout this to think about, what does this bring up in you? How does this resonate with you? What kinds of stories in your own life have shaped you and might draw you to work through with others to create a community with more belonging? And I've shared some stories about myself over the years, so I don't want to repeat the same ones. But one I'll share today, you've heard a little bit about. In years past, I've talked about my dad's work as a public defender. And from when I was maybe 5 years old, he started breaking down for me all of the injustice he saw in the justice system, especially racism, especially economic injustice. I believe I told a story last year when I came about one of his clients who was completely innocent, and it was a wrongful conviction that he spent 20 years in prison for a crime he didn't do because of racism throughout the process of people wanting to pin him as the person guilty, even though he had no connection, and even though the DNA proved him innocent. I'm happy to share that story another time, or sit down and have coffee with someone. A story I've been reflecting on recently was shortly after college, I was living in West Virginia, actually, in a coal mining community, working with a local environmental justice organization. And this was 2010. There was a mine explosion that killed 29 miners. Some of you may remember this. It was in the news. I lived in that community where it happened. And it was intentional negligence on the part of the mine owners. So they knew that the mine wasn't meeting safety conditions, but the price of coal was really high at the time. So they said, we don't want to take any time to stop and clean up the dust in the air because that could lose us money. So instead of losing money, lives were lost. And I couldn't get home that night because I worked on one side of the mine and lived on the other side, and there's one little road through the mountains. And so the only thing I could think to do, and that road was blocked. There was emergency responders from 3 states that came in to try to help. So the only thing I could think to do was go to the one restaurant in town, the town where I worked, because it was a community gathering place. And it was almost like the whole town poured into the restaurant. And the owners pulled all the food off the shelves, and everyone just spent all night. No one could sleep. We stayed up all night cooking every item in the restaurant, and there were people shuttling it to as far as they could get to the mine to bring it to the emergency responders and bring it to the families of the miners who had gathered to see if there were any survivors. And so that shaped how I see belonging. I saw how a community could come together and show each other the deepest love and solidarity when something like that happens. And I also saw what happens when that value of belonging is not carried out on a larger level, and where talking about worth, where the worth of the human lives is worth so much less than the dollars that the mine operators can get. And that really challenged me to try to figure out, what does it take? This is serious. This is not just a nice word. This can mean a matter of life or death if we're actually living out our values on a larger level. And I reflected back on the work of my mom, who's an Episcopal priest. And I saw from her example, and what I see today, the strength and possibility when people actually come together in a congregation or anywhere. The church I grew up in was Church of the Holy Family, also a Justice United member church in Chapel Hill. And I remember a mother who was a single mother in that church moving houses. She bought a house, and the entire congregation showed up. That's something I can imagine y'all doing too. The entire congregation showed up and physically helped her move every box into the house. And then we had a blessing in each room of the house and had a big potluck, and all the kids played together. And that just gave me this vision of, it is possible. It is possible to come together, to have each other's backs, to celebrate together, to mourn together. And then the question of, again, how can we take these beautiful connections and the strength that we can create and bring it out farther into the world to make the world around us also more just. And so that question, like David said, and I shared a little description of me, but that's the question that drives me, and I think so many of you, and I believe Charisse and many of the people involved in Justice United, is how do we make this happen? I got invited many years ago to a Justice United assembly for diversifying teacher and front desk staff. I think, were any of you at that assembly? Amy, were you there at Latticeville Grove? It was in maybe 2016 or 2017. But that is a big church. If y'all go on the 25th, it is, that sanctuary holds over 400 people, and it was packed to the balcony. And I saw the whole school board slate of candidates was there. There was teachers, former teachers, students, all giving testimony of the importance of teacher diversity. And I saw each school board candidate go down the line and commit that if they won, they would diversify the teacher staff, which at that point was well over 90% white, and hire more bilingual front desk staff for Spanish-speaking families. And everyone said yes, and everyone there rose up and started cheering. It was just like thunder. And I just got goosebumps. I was like, well, this is it. Not only had I been welcomed so warmly when I came in, but I saw that this was a type of work that was committed to creating this sense of belonging throughout the whole community. And so here I am now, and my own story has evolved. I have 2 children, and our older son, who's 4, they're both obviously amazing because I'm their mom, so I will say that. But our older son, who's 4, has essentially a form of cerebral palsy. Amy got to meet him yesterday. He can't walk or talk right now, and we don't know if he'll ever be able to. We don't know what that will mean for his life. We don't know what that will mean for our life. We already know what it feels like to see him, and even sometimes us as a family, on the margins, as was described in the opening words. And we also know what it feels like, those moments where we do feel fully welcomed and brought into a circle, whether it's a circle of other children that welcome him in and see him as a whole person, or whether his teachers embrace him at school. And we know we want him to live in a community where he will belong, where he will not be left behind. And that is the exact kind of community that we're organizing for in Justice United. And so in Justice United, how does this all work? Some of you have experienced it firsthand, but we start by building these types of relationships and sense of belonging. And we've held gatherings where we share meals and stories about what matters to us, what makes us who we are, where we honor each other's stories. There's also a group of actually Hillsborough congregations that have come together to worship and eat together every quarter. It's called Heaven Practice, is what they call it, preparing for heaven, however you envision heaven, when we'll all be together, but to intentionally build those relationships across divides of race, income, age, geography, religious affiliation. And everyone, as a note, everyone from this congregation is welcome. There's always an announcement in our newsletter, and if you want to be on that newsletter, I can add you. But it's really been beautiful to see these gatherings grow over time and see the laughter and conversations bubble up and the relationships that deepen. And it is a real comfort. It's a comfort to the soul to see that happening. A deep sense of belonging allows us to bring our full selves, our joys, our fears, our hopes. When we create belonging across lines that often divide us, our eyes are often opened to different kinds of joys and fears and hopes that we hadn't understood as fully before. And I think this is where the comfort can turn into a challenge, but a really good kind of challenge, a challenge that is life-giving. In the sense that if I care about someone, if I really come to care deeply about someone who's experiencing a painful injustice, what does it mean to be truly in community with them? Am I just going to sit back and watch them struggle? Or am I going to try to with them and work with them to change that injustice? Or if I find that I share a deep vision and hope for change with someone else, it challenges me to think of what could we do together to live out this vision. And so I'm going to share 3 stories, brief stories, that have come out of these gatherings of belonging and come out of the work that we've done together. One is the story of a local leader that Sharice and I have come to know and love well, who integrated the schools in Orange County. And he and his dad was a local politician, also integrated local politics. And he and his family and his friends fought hard to be respected, to be seen with their whole worth, and many of them literally built our community and made Hillsborough the place that it is, that now so many people want to move to. He moved away for a time, and when he moved back, he was horrified to see the level of gentrification and to see how many people making lower incomes, people who were Black, people who for different reasons, were struggling to hold on against the pressure of gentrification, be pushed out of Orange County, and see communities that he had seen as strong and vibrant be becoming fragmented, and developers from other states coming in, buying up homes, tearing them down, building up mansions. Those stories started to come out of these gatherings. Another story is of a pastor who started these gatherings and was very excited when an affordable housing development was planned for his neighborhood, which is your neighborhood. It's right over here. This is Reverend Boss, the pastor of Piney Grove. But then when he realized that even with the pressures and different decisions that had been made, even for affordable housing, the minimum income required might be over $50,000. And so many people in this community who are CNAs, lab techs, beauticians, housekeeping staff, could not come close to qualifying. People who are the ones that keep our communities running. And when he asked about the possibility for some homes being able to be sold at lower amounts so that these members who had steady jobs, who never missed a rent payment, could have a chance at buying them, he was told verbatim, well, home ownership isn't for everyone. And another story that came out of these gatherings was a parent in the Chapel Hill schools who heard from her child that there was a bus driver telling the students, if you guys don't quiet down, I'm going to call ICE on you. And so when we come together and we hear these stories, what do? That's what can come from belonging. It's the comfort, but also the challenge. And I will say our stories of struggle bear out the numbers that you can see. We're the 3rd wealthiest county in the state by median income. There is plenty of money, and our most commonly expressed values are very oriented towards justice and equality and caring for well-being of others. But by a lot of metrics, we are the most unequal county in the whole state. The gap between the people with the most and the people with the least is the biggest in our entire state. I'm sure some of that will come out in the forum that Heather is involved in this week. And so if we want a true experience of belonging in this community, some things are going to have to change. The beauty of community organizing is that by creating a sense of belonging among our members, we also create the most important for making our community more a place of belonging, which is the people power, the relationships, the teamwork that are essential for making any kind of real change. Because of those stories that I just described, we are working on issues that people shared. So Charisse is one of the leaders and the core organizer in working to change the property valuation. Right now, you all know that we had a revaluation, but it currently has been taxing more expensive properties less. Sometimes proportionally and sometimes truly, they have a lower tax bill than smaller, older homes, especially homes in historically Black neighborhoods. The people with more are paying less than the people with less. We're also working on continuing to get more funds for property tax assistance. Once it's been valued and the tax bills have gone out, and that's what's that, how can people get assistance paying their bills so that that's not the piece that causes them to lose their home and lose their land? And home repairs for the same reason, so that these people that have made our communities what they are can actually enjoy what they've worked so hard to build. We also have created an immigrant rights team to hold a legal clinic, worked with public officials to get commitments to protect immigrant rights and protect, specifically from ICE, on public property, and working with the schools very intentionally to prevent bullying from both students and from staff. And we're also working to make sure that a number of the homes in the new habitat development that will be just off of 70, some of them can be available to those people working essential jobs that also deserve a chance at home ownership. So I'm happy to share more about any of this and about our process for arriving at these over coffee, tea. We can start today, and I'd love to get a chance to know you, and I'm sure Charisse would as well. But it comes from a very intentional process of listening to each other. We actually vote as an organization of what we're going to prioritize, then researching to understand what can we actually do to make a difference, who do we need to be negotiating with, where should the funds come from, and then strategizing how can we actually make sure that happens. And so all of you are invited to be a part of the stage. Right now, action. So we've won the county, for example, for home repairs and property. But for more, we need more. The county has made some changes thanks to some very good organizing. Specifically, the September 25th event at Latticeville Grove will be a wonderful way for you to connect with other groups from Justice United. And then the October 6th event at the Whitted Building in Hillsborough will be a chance to really dig deep into what's going on with these property tax issues and make sure that's not what pushes people out. But it all begins with and comes back to a sense of belonging. And that's what I invite all of you to continue reflecting within yourself about, is what are your own stories? I shared some of mine. I shared a little bit of some other people's stories, people that mean a lot to me. But what are the stories that make you who you are? What are your own hopes and fears for yourself and for the people that you love? What would it look like to share these stories and fears and hopes with other people and understand theirs? And what needs to change in our community to make it a place where everyone can belong? What are you willing to do to make that happen, to make it more of a place where everyone can belong? And that central question, I believe this month and always, is how to invite our full selves and each other in from the margins to this circle of this whole wild belonging. And to believe that we really do have the power to build the kinds of relationships across divides that create a sense of belonging among each other, and that also creates the people power and the commitment to each other to move our entire community closer to being a true place of belonging. So I'm thankful to be here, and I would love to invite Charisse to share a few words about what you're working on and anything you want to bring to the congregation.
I didn't think I was talking. So. FYI, this is not my favorite thing. I appreciate it. I'm Sharice Austin. I am from Chapel Hill, Carborough, all that. It's all the same to me. I grew up, born and raised Chapel Hill. I went to schools, all from elementary to high school, even college. I dealt with a lot of racism in Chapel Hill, and I think that's what kind of not necessarily led me to community organizing, because I didn't know anything about community organizing. I used to do, and still do a lot of work in the community around voting. My expertise is civic engagement and voting. And so I was out in the Black community getting people registered, and I met a young woman, Miss Elizabeth Young, who asked me, was I interested in community organizing? And that wasn't the first time, wasn't the second time, wasn't the third time somebody asked me about community organizing. I knew absolutely nothing about community organizing, but I put it in the back of my head. Anyway, I kept it as an interest, and she spoke with Julia, and Julia contacted me, and basically the rest is history. We met, did a relational meeting. She threw me on the property tax project. And I thought it was going to be me and her, but she was already busy. And so I stuck with it though, and made it my own. And I started organizing. And of course, some of my background is in canvassing, so I already knew how to do that, PR stuff, talking to folks. I was like, I can do that. So I started canvassing neighborhoods, my neighborhoods, Councilville, Neville Road, everywhere around 54, Rangewood areas. And what I found is people were struggling because of these high property taxes, and they wanted something to be done. And so we created a workshop at a small church called Tails Creek. About 40 people showed up, and we got folks to repeal their property taxes and stuff like that. So we're still working on those projects. We're getting some wins. We just got a huge win in Northside, who historically has been targeted the most. And they were laser-like focused on Northside. But when I came in, I wanted to be laser-like focused on my community. And so we just all been working together and coming together and just getting things done. So I'm appreciative to Julia for bringing me on, and I'm appreciative to you guys for raising the money and to bring me on. I'm greatly appreciative. But yeah, we can't do this work alone. We have to do it together. And that's why I'm here. My love for people, my love for community and humanity. So I just appreciate y'all letting me come on. This is not my thing. talking in front of people. I really love being on the ground doing the work. But thank y'all. That's just a little bit about me. We can do some one-on-ones, relational meetings and stuff, and I can dive deeper into whatever it is. I mean, but yeah, that's me. Thank you.
Well, thanks to both of you. We did get 2 for 1 today. Right. Each Sunday after our sermon, we take up a monetary offering to support various worthy causes, as we've been hearing about. For the month of September, fortunately, our offering goes to Orange County Justice United. How about that? Please donate by placing cash or checks in the offering basket. If by check, please write plate in the memo line, or you can go on our website, uuchnc.org, and click the donate button, or you can use the QR code printed in your order of service. And thank you for your generosity. Now we will hear from Jenny Haddock. Lovely. Please join me in offering a blessing for our offertory that's printed in your order service. For the love that surrounds us every morning, for the friends beside us, and for the generous gifts just received, let us be truly grateful. Please rise in body and spirit as we sing our closing hymn, number 121, We'll Build a Land.
Offer the closing words, which are called Building Belonging by Reverend Dr. David Breeden. Belonging is not something given. It is something we build with open hands and open hearts. It is made in the sharing of stories, the holding of silences, the courage to show up as we are. Here we practice a radical hospitality, not of perfection, but of presence. May we make our community a shelter for the soul, a workshop for justice, a sanctuary where love is not merely spoken, but lived deeply. Again, in trust, in hope, in the spirit of the law.
And now we'll extinguish the chalice with these words all together. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Go in peace, my friends, and blessed be.